Hello and welcome again to Tech Talks, the People and Planet podcast, where we explore the ways that technology can be used for good, from healthcare to education, social justice to sustainability. Today's episode, we focused on the role of technology in achieving sustainability. And we're really excited today to have Markus Peuler here from NEXR.io as our guest. Markus will share with us how NEXR's innovative use of AR, VR, and motion capturing and digital avatars can significantly reduce carbon footprint, as well as some other really interesting use cases that they have at the moment over there. So we'll be looking to discuss the way what they're currently doing and what the future holds for them. So let's jump into this exciting episode and explore the ways in which technology and social impact intersects with Markus Peuler. So Markus, I'm super keen to get the ball rolling on this, but I wondered if you could just give us a little intro before we dive right in.
Yes, sure. Thanks, Tony. And so yeah, NEXR Technologies we've been concentrating very much, as you said, on VR, AR, and scanning technology and motion capture. And our roots are actually coming back from the scanning technology, where we started off as a business very early, where we created 3D figurines. These small things that you can print out in 3D and then take it home or give it as a gift somewhere. And in this process, we actually learned, there's a step in between to get this printing file, which is a digital file. It's a digital representation of yourself, and then we said, well, this is actually quite cool. Can we do something with it? Can we do something different with it? And this was like the start of avatar creation, back then, because what we do is we create photorealistic avatars, and we also build the environments so avatars can move in virtual worlds, and we have a motion capture studio that then also puts the movements into the avatars. So we had like the full range of possibilities, and this gives us the opportunity also to create these avatar-based solutions that you just mentioned in the beginning.
Cool. So you mentioned there obviously about sort of picture realistic avatars. So can you explain how your product works to create these, and how
Yes.
did you go about developing this technology, and I guess what sort of sets it apart from other avatar creation tools on the market?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sure. There's two components to our solution. So as you said, we believe very strongly in photorealistic avatars, because there's other use cases in the metaverse where you're like a comic style or stylized figurine, whatever, or you don't want to look like yourself, but there's certainly use cases where you want to be, and you want to be represented as yourself and kind of capture personality. So how we do it actually has two components. So one is the hardware, which you see here behind me as an example. And this hardware is made of it's a box that has around 120 cameras inside, and it has depth sensors and all the lightning. So everything actually works very smoothly in just a couple of minutes. So the actually process of taking that picture or these pictures at the same time is only a couple of milliseconds. And then your avatar gets delivered with no manual interaction. So everything is created automatically. No interference by 3D artists or anything, and it gets delivered in a matter of between 20 and 30 minutes. It gets delivered to your phone, and in between is the second component, which is the software piece of it. We have a rendering pipeline set up to actually enable this scan process in a very short time frame, because usually when you do these photorealistic avatars, it takes a very long time, and usually you have a 3D artist sitting on it and polishing and all that stuff, and what really is so sophisticated around this is we're not just creating the pictures, but we're also measuring the body. We take more than 40 body measurements, so you are fully measured, and it gives you the size what you actually have, and there's always little mistakes, and this is below. We have a 99% accuracy.
Wow. Okay. Cool. So on that basis then, what are some of the sort of use cases that could be, used in that sense? Like, you mentioned obviously around those kind of sort of full body measurements, like how are you kind of sort of utilizing that accuracy on that as well?
Yeah. So, the very simple use case that you would have is just, using your avatar in all kinds of, online meetings and something. But, since we also have the body fully measured, you're now able to actually, and this is the use case we came up with, is what problem can we solve with our avatars. And so we looked at the fashion industry, you know, which is one of the highest carbon emission industries of the world. You know, as we all know, there's overproduction and there's a lot of waste happening around that from, you know, from stuff that gets returned. And, you know, it's a problem for the industry. It's a problem for the consumer. Because, you know, how frustrating is it that you order something online, you try it on, it doesn't fit, it doesn't look good, you return it. Well, you know it probably yourself. All of us know that. And we said, you know, how can we reduce that frustrating effect, you know? And so we said, since you're fully measured, you know, and we can match this to the measurements of the garments and the clothes, you know, we can actually tell you exactly what would be the best fitting size for you. And so this is recommendation number one. And the second thing that we can do is that we've developed also a process where we can fit new clothes on your avatar. You know, again, anyone who's coming from the 3D industry knows, oh, this is another complex process. You know, it takes weeks, days at least. We do this in a matter of minutes currently. We want to do it in a matter of seconds. You know, this is our current development effort. So you can actually try on clothes before you buy them. So you not only get the size recommendation, but also see how they look like on your body. So it reduces once more, you know, it could be fitting perfectly. And then you look at yourself like, well, maybe I don't like the color. I just switch to another color and see how it looks. So I don't have to order different colors just to see how they look like, you know. Yeah. And this is the very early use case that we're implementing now.
Cool.
But there's tons of stuff you can do beyond that. But as you can imagine, you know, this really creates the opportunity to reduce returns significantly.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You can certainly see how that product would or that use case in particular would certainly be gearing towards, you know, a more sustainable environment or industry within retail for sure. And what kind of sort of impact do you hope to have on the industry as a whole, I guess?
Well, currently return rates are somewhere between, in the online sector, between more than 60%, you know, from what gets ordered gets returned. Sometimes the numbers are even higher, depends by industry, it depends by country, but also if it's fast fashion or luxury fashion, all that stuff. So, I mean, we've learned from our customers that just a simple size recommendation already takes more than 10 percentage points off the return rate. And now with our virtual try-on before that, we're pretty sure that we'll add, you know, we'll deduct even more percentage points, you know, down to our target would be returns below, you know, 30%. I mean, there's always stuff, you know, that you cannot see virtually, you know, how does it feel, you know, the haptic, it's not possible. So that piece will remain, so that we don't have the goal of reducing it to zero, but, you know, it's the one thing is really reducing returns. On the other hand, it's also making an impact in terms of also increasing customer satisfaction, because a satisfied customer who knows, well, you know, I got a lot of choice, and it will also increase the basket size. And so these are some of the things we have in terms of benefits for the customers and the B2B customers.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I know I noticed actually that you've got a partnership as well with H&M, who's kind of sort of one of your clients. How did that collaboration come about, and what kind of results have you seen from the trial in and I think it's in Thailand, is it, where you're kind of sort of initially rolling that out?
Yeah, well, we actually started the tryout in Berlin and Hamburg, since we are based in Berlin, and by coincidence, we learned that H&M has a lab here. They opened this lab, I think, in 2020 or something. It's called H&M Beyond, you know, where they work with innovative companies who want to make it different in terms of sustainability as well. And so we went up to them and said, well, you know, we got this great idea, you know, don't you want to try it out? And they came to us and they looked at the scanner and it's like, wow, this could be really, really making an impact. And we started this trial process a year later because we still had to do development. So at the end of 2021, we went into this pilot phase with 2 scanners in Berlin and Hamburg, and for 2 weeks. And we had people actually lining up to get scanned because they liked it. You know, you can share your avatar, but also this experience of getting the size recommendation, but also the virtual fitting possibility. We tried it out with the capsule collection. You see that here in the back with No Fear back then. they were really enthusiastic, especially people between 16 and 25, this is our target group, this typical generation Z, but also older generations. And then they said, well, we like this so much, we want to introduce this in our group. Let's look for a country agency who would like to do that. And this is how Thailand then came. They contacted us and said, we really saw everything, and we have also customer satisfaction reports, and they're like, we want to introduce this in Thailand. And so it happened. We just did that, and I just got back from Bangkok yesterday, and where we are actually setting up now the first scanners and are rolling it out throughout the year through more shopping malls in Thailand with H&M.
Oh, wow. Cool. So yeah, I mean, it's from a fashion industry standpoint, it certainly looks like you're making all the right noises and making the right moves, I guess. So certainly on track to have a significant impact there. What are some of the other sort of potential use cases for your avatar creation technology beyond the fashion industry? And I guess, are there other industries or sectors that could benefit from this type of technology or tool?
Yeah. I mean, they are, and we are also exploring other cases here. This then goes a bit away from maybe the sustainability thing, but everywhere where it comes down to having body measurements, it could be in the bike industry. We already had a test there, because to get like a customized bike, it's really important for some of the athletes there. And this process is just, again, the process of just a few seconds and a couple of minutes to get the measurements. And usually this measurement process is more than half an hour or even an hour sometimes to get all the measurements. And it's sometimes, not so nice to get measured fully, the full body. And the second we have also is in the health industry, because our pictures are so detailed and the quality is so high. There's different use cases you can think about in the health industry, like when it comes down to skin detection of skin irregularities, and also in terms of diseases which you can see from your body. So all that stuff is something that we're looking into now. But currently we focus on the fashion industry.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting. And I guess then from an avatar sort of standpoint, how do you ensure that the actual avatars are created so accurately? How do they reflect various diverse sort of body types, sizes and shapes? And I guess what's the sort of research or development that goes into that aspect of that technology?
That actually is a very, very cumbersome and long process. A lot of R&D went into this. This is also why it took so long until we got the scanner to market, because one is really about, this process has to be quick. You don't want a customer to wait for hours and hours until they get the avatar, because then you kind of also lose them. And the other is really about, as you say, representing different kinds of people, different, skin types, different, sizes, and different heights and different hairstyles. All this is all a matter of photogrammetry, and there's a lot of possibilities. There's also some limitations. We can't do everything currently, but it's really about finding the right mix of the camera, the lenses, and the background, and also the right lighting. We had to really experiment a lot, so that's why also it took along. So we have people here who are very good in photogrammetry, then other people who do the hardware, the hardware assembly and finding the right components, and then it's really about the rendering process in the back, of putting everything together, putting all the pictures together, putting the data together from the depth sensors, because that gives the extra detail of really looking at yourself like it's a 360 image of yourself.
Yeah, no, understood. So looking to the future then, I guess what are the plans for scaling and expanding the use of your product? And are there any kind of specific partnerships or collaborations that you hope to pursue in coming years?
Yeah, so for us, H&M is only a start. H&M is a big company, obviously worldwide representation. They have different brands. They not only have H&M, but there's COS and other stores, Arket, whatever. There's a lot there. But actually, our target is to speak to most of the big retail fashion companies and brands, especially those who are in fast fashion. Because we think fast fashion, has the highest impact on sustainability issues, on the carbon emissions and all that stuff. So they have a lot, everyone like Inditex and H&M and all of them, they have initiatives out there of reducing their footprint, and we think we can be a good component in that. So one is really growing our scanner network through those fashion companies, but the other is really also going and making it independent. We're currently also speaking to shopping centers, because there's all kinds of brands in there, and not everyone will be able to afford one scanner. And it also doesn't make sense if someone gets scanned at H&M, the next guy at Zara, and then you go to Adidas and you get scanned again. It doesn't make sense, right? So you want your avatar to also to move between those brands, so you can use them multi-purpose, but also having our devices in a shopping center makes a lot of sense, because then all the brands there can actually have a benefit from that. So this is how we're looking to grow and scale. We're focusing very much on Asia, because Asia, as most of the times in terms of tech, they're very much ahead. The use of avatars there is something that they do on a daily basis, with different kinds of avatars. Europe is a bit behind, I would say, but also the fashion industry in Europe is picking that up, and the US is kind of in between. So, but that's why we focus on Asia now, because they are fast movers and first movers.
Yeah, no, understood. Well, look, Markus, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I'm super excited to kind of continue to watch your journey. But I think that's all we have time for today on today's episode of Tech Talks, the People and Planet podcast. I really hope that our listeners enjoyed this fascinating discussion with Markus here from NEXR. We explored the intersection of technology and sustainability, from the potential of VR and AR to the importance of creating a more environmentally conscious culture. So I feel like we have covered a lot of ground today, Markus. So again, thank you for that and sharing your insights today. So if you have enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our podcast, or give us a like, share, leave a review. And don't forget to tune in next time for another episode of Tech Talks, where we'll continue to explore the ways that technology can be used for good. Until then, stay curious and keep innovating. Thanks again, Markus.
Thanks, Tony, for having me here.